All right, it's recording. Okay, I don't even know how to start this. Welcome to the Boring Podcast. Is it the Boring Podcast or the Boring Show? I think it's the Boring Show. I forgot the name already, but it's been too long since I said I'm gonna start this, and I didn't start this because there was a few things that was stopping me from starting. So we're gonna talk all about that. It's something that you probably could relate to, so I think it will bring value to you also. You'll find it somewhat helpful. Well, at least I hope you do. Yeah, so this is just audio only. I'll also explain the reason why, but first of all, let's get the elephant in the room away. There's no guest today. There's no guest. That's also one of the reasons that I haven't started a podcast, because I'm afraid that I'm not gonna get guests. But the thing is, you gotta start it. You just gotta start it, and then you go from there onwards. So yeah, it's just me talking to me and you guys. So hopefully you don't find that too boring, and hopefully, hopefully you stick by it and listen to it. But welcome to the Boring Show. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, the Boring Show, the number one boring podcast in the whole entire world. I just named that because why not? Yeah, like put my expectation down, and I just named that. Oh my god. All right. How do I do this full introduction? This is the hardest part. So how I got the name, we'll talk about that first. I have a few notes here also. Just being transparent, just on topic to cover, so I don't lose track of myself. But this is like the rawest form of how you could talk, it's not scripted. So that's why I like podcasts, because it's just whatever's in your head, you just say it. So yeah, how I got the name, I think how I got the name, it was like 6 months ago. 6 months ago I was gonna plan come up with a name and start a podcast, but I didn't. But how I got the name is, I was just thinking of a name, and what inspired me to get this name is that everyone wants the best. Everyone wants the best, the most entertaining, the most powerful thing. So for me, I was thinking the same way, the same route. Okay, I need an interesting name for this podcast. The podcast needs to be so good. The podcast needs to have this. It needs to, yeah, da. And that thinking got me to a point where I was like, nah, this is too much. Maybe I should start it later. Then the thing came rolling where I was like, oh, maybe I should just name it pretty simple and pretty boring. And when that sentence hit, I came up with the show called the show, which means the podcast called The Boring Show. And it kind of resonates with me, I would say, because I don't know about the people that watch me, but I feel like a lot of people that don't know me that much, maybe the ones that see me very rarely, and that don't know me a lot, I think they find me boring, because I talk about a lot of things that they may not care about, which I care about. I know which some of you guys care about, because some of you guys do watch me and my videos and things like that. So yeah, so that's how I got the name, because I'm also boring myself, so it becomes the Boring Show, but hopefully it's entertaining. But if it's boring, then who cares? It's just funny. So that's how I got the name, and I was gonna plan this whole thing, and Steve was gonna be my first guest, but that didn't happen, because I think I cancelled, because there's something that came up. And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start it in 6 months, and 6 months passed now. Right here, right now, I'm here. But if it wasn't for something, which I will explain, I don't think I would have started this podcast. So I'm glad that something happened, and I'm glad that I'm here doing this podcast right now. I'm pretty glad. I think I need to get water, because I'm gonna be. Oh, I think there's water right here. Hang on, let me have a sip of that water. All right. So let's talk about a few things. I want to talk about a few things that were stopping me from making these podcast episodes. There's a few things. I think. By the way, I'm sorry if you can hear any background noises because I'm literally recording this off my Rode Video Mic Pro Plus and like a camera. So it's actually filming right now, but it's filming a blank wall. And what I'm going to be doing is just using the audio, and maybe I'll work out some I'll just put a black screen if I'm uploading into YouTube. If I'm uploading somewhere else, which I probably will, like Anchor, it will be Spotify. It will be just the audio, I think. Not sure. We'll work that out later on. But what I'm doing is audio, and I'll explain that soon. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just trying to go off track. Well, I don't know why. Things that were stopping me. I think the number one thing that was stopping me is the gear. I researched about how much you need to put into, making a podcast studio. It was a lot. It was quite a lot. The mics were expensive. I didn't have enough space. The lighting, everything was just so overwhelming, and it was expensive. So I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening. I'm just gonna maybe save up. But again, gear is, some people are unfortunate to just buy that much gear straight away, so they have to work with what they have. And I already had a Video Mic Pro Plus, but I don't know how to work around that because I needed like mics for 4 or 5 people if someone want to come in and do a podcast with me. But we'll work that out. But yeah, gear was something that was stopping me. And like I said, I'm literally using a Video Mic Pro Plus right now on a camera, and I just plugged it into my camera, started recording. Here I am. I'm just trying to use what I have for now to just get this thing rolling. That's all I need to do now. Another thing that was stopping me is, what can I say? I think the amount of guests I'm going to have. Like, I'm so used to seeing podcasts in a way where it's just people have guests. People have people coming over and then them having a chat. So it's not like one by one, or it's not like one by the same person every single time. It's always different. So that is kind of an insecurity that I had. Maybe like if I just do it by myself, it's going to be boring. If I do have just one of my friends all the time, it's going to be boring. And another also thing was like, who would want to do a podcast with me? Like, who would come in for a podcast? So all that was just stopped me from doing it. Plus, on top of that, like, if I was to do it remotely, where someone's at their house and I was here and do it, how am I meant to do it? All that things was like, I was overthinking it, I would say. So I think those are the two main things. What else? Yeah, so gear is probably the most important, but and also space. So I needed like a studio or some kind of a space, and I don't have that much space at the moment. So that was also a minor problem, but I thought I could manage with that. But yeah, I think gear was the most important problem. But yeah, I'm here, sorted out. I'm using literally again for the third time the Video Mic Pro Plus, just that and by myself, just to get things started and to see if to see what kind of value that I can provide to other people. But this was a really sudden this decision of recording this podcast was literally made 2 days ago. And it's weird because I was just like, nah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick to that. I'm just going to put the camera on and just record audio. I don't care if I don't have video. I'm just going to record audio because I love talking. I love putting what's in my head into a content format, which is right now audio. We'll be soon doing videos in the future, but for now it's audio until I can afford cameras and like better podcast mic and things like that. But for now, it's just audio with this freaking mic. Okay. But the reason why I'm doing this right now is because of Gary Vee. Literally because of Gary Vee. I've been watching Gary Vee for about an year and a half now. I think more than that. But Yeah, I think more than that. I don't know. Yeah, it must be a year and a half. But I haven't been watching his podcast or his live show. I only watch like what he posts on TikTok and Instagram of the snippet thingamajiggy. So it's only like about 2 minutes of Gary Vee that I watch. Whatever comes up on my feed. I don't watch his whole podcast or the live shows or the conference that he goes to. But so to explain this, I think I need to explain a bit of about me. Some people, when they go out or when they're alone or when they're driving, they love music. They love to listen to music. But me, weirdly, I don't know if this will surprise you, I don't listen to much music. I don't listen to music 95% of the time. And if I do listen to music, it's very special. Like that song that I listen to will be my song for 6 months until I get bored of it and I'll stop listening to music. So right now, for the last 2 years, I've been into these few songs from TikToks and also this specific one, which is Ride Slow from Russ. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of Russ. I wouldn't, like, no disrespect. I don't know much about Russ, but I just like that music. So I listen to it all the freaking time. Yeah, so this is the way it goes. I'm not a music guy. I don't find much value in music, and I don't care if you judge me or not. I'm just not a music guy. I just can't listen to music. It's something about it that I can listen to sometimes. Again, that's just the 5%, but sometimes no music is the best type of feel. So I started thinking, like, I was driving the other day and I was like, oh, maybe I should listen to like podcast. Maybe that would entertain me while I drive. Like that would actually be something that I will be into, because that brings me some value and knowledge. So I look forward to value and knowledge in everything that I seek, or most of the things that I seek. I look forward to value and see, fucking hell, I stuffed up. Let me drink water. I think I need water. Hang on. Oh, by the way, like, if you like music and you don't like podcasts, that's totally fine. But this is just me. I don't think I've got to prove myself, but I just don't like music. Yeah, that's just that. Let me just shut this off. Okay. So where was I up to? Value. Yeah, value and knowledge. So yeah, I'm someone who looks for value and knowledge, because I think at a young age like this, instead of fucking around and doing stupid shit, you might as well learn something. I love learning. I love working. I love knowledge. I love the knowledge I gain, the information I get. I love providing that to other people, whether it's right or wrong. I love voicing my own opinion and my own learning in like a social media or content format, like I'm doing right now. So yeah, so I love podcast. So I started listening to Gary Vee's podcast. I don't even know which one it was. I just went into my Spotify. I don't even have Spotify. It's my friend's Spotify, Pastor Tabaki. Yeah, it's his Spotify. I went into it. I started listening to it. And then, yeah, like it was a 1.5 hour drive. So I started listening to it, and he comes across the speech that he always talks about, where, content creation and podcast is the way to go, TikTok is the way to go. So he started talking, like, if you like, he started talking about the gear and saying how the gear doesn't matter. And I'm very much aware of that, because the gear doesn't actually matter. Like, when you start, like, I preach this in my photography videos and my vlogs, that gear doesn't matter. If you want to get started, just get started with what you have, and if you want to move up, you can move up later on when you save up and shit like that. But for some reason, when I was starting a podcast, that was stopping me. But again, when I was listening to Gary Vee, he said the same thing that resonated with me, that even when starting a podcast, it does not matter. Like, you could literally record from your phone and then actually upload it to these website where it gets spread and shared across. So yeah, so that clicked in. I was like, okay, maybe like I have a way to start. I have a way. Maybe I could do it by myself. And the thoughts started coming across. But I kept listening to his podcast, And he also mentioned something else which I forgot now. My brain is like fried. So one thing he talked about is gear. Yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. He also talked about what do you call it? Audio. How audio and writing is probably the best thing to do right now. If you can't do video, do audio. And the reason to him was that people have a lot of time where, I think this is what he said, but I think this is what I think. I don't know if he said this, but I'm pretty sure this is what I think. So yeah, I take accountability if, yeah, like I think this. So he said something about audio and writing being the best form of content creation, because content can be in any shape or form. It can be written, it can be like a text, it can be, you get the point. So audio. And when he mentioned that, I started thinking, like, I'm listening to literally audio right now while I'm driving, and I'm pretty sure people will find an audio podcast, because it's literally like in radio, right? So people might find that interesting. So I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I should just start it. Like what a lot of people, and Gary Vee says, doing it is better than nothing. So instead of waiting for this thing called the do cycle, where I read it in a book. I read a lot of books, by the way. I kind of have stopped or slowed down because I've been like busy, but that's a whole nother story. I get sidetracked, and oh my god, I swear to God. What was I saying? See, I forgot. I forgot. Yeah. So like, yeah, doing it. I can't. Why is this a tongue twister? Doing it is better than thinking. Something like that. Basically, what that is just doing it, or is always doing it beats thinking. So when you think, the more you think about doing something, the more you tell your head to, or the more you think about it, the more your brain tells yourself to not do it. You overthinking, you're like, nah. You come up with all this problem to excuse yourself from doing it. So, but instead of when you do it, you find the love in the process. Well, at least for me, like I'm enjoying recording this right now. I don't even know. I find it more fascinating than doing my own video for some reason. Like, I'm being myself. I'm talking. I have no expectation of how this is going to turn out. I'm literally talking, and I'm enjoying it to the fullest. So, yeah, doing it beats thinking. So now that I've done this, I'm probably going to make more because I actually am enjoying it. And this goes for everything, I feel like. It goes for any kind of content creation, even like any creative ideas. I feel like this goes for 99% of everything. So just remember that doing always beats thinking, because when you think, you overthink and you excuse yourself. You create excuses and move yourself from not doing it, because you're just so insecure. It comes from insecurity. So that's pretty much it. Gary V is probably the reason why I'm starting this podcast. I don't know if I'm going to do one a week. I don't know how many people are going to come on. I don't know how to get people on. Even if it's by myself for the next 6 months, I'm fine with it, because the people who want to get something out of it will listen. And it doesn't really matter if people listen or not, which I hope they listen. I hope they like it. I appreciate that. But if they don't, I'm still going to post it, because at the end of the day, I have to do it instead of worrying about external I don't control people and what people like. I don't control the external circumstances or situations. So I got to do what's intrinsic, which is me doing it. So I'm doing it. So yeah, that's that. And another thing I want to talk about is that hit me what Gary said is in a few of his podcasts. I think I listened to one and a half, because halfway I got home. He always asks, like, instead of being selfish, be selfless. Meaning that try to always provide value, or try to make that something that's in value. So for me, what I'm providing now for me feels like value to you. Like I hope I'm doing this in a hope that you can get something out of it, which is my 100% hope. That's not going to fulfill everyone because people's interests and things are different, but what I'm talking about, what I'm saying, I hope you find some value in it. At least that's the best I can do. But before I started this podcast and everything like that, to get somewhat of an idea, like I think last night, I messaged a few people and I was like, I asked them like, if I was to do a podcast or something like that, what would you like to hear? Like how can I bring you value, or something that you listen to, or something that you like to hear, or something like that that what you want to hear. So I basically asked them, like Gary Vee said, like go ask people like how can I help you, or what can I do for you? So I did that. I got a rough idea of what people are wanting. Not a lot of people replied. I put on my story, and I don't think a lot of people cared, but that's not going to stop me. There is a few people that replied to me, which I appreciate, and yeah, like I'm doing it for those, and also myself. So yeah, so that's that. That's the story of me starting a podcast. It's nothing serious. I'm already enjoying it. My throat's hurting though. Like I've been talking for I think 21 minutes and 31 seconds, and my throat is hurting. I'm gonna take a little water break. Give me like 1 minute. Oh god. Anyways, like while I do this, we don't have to talk all serious and all that. How are you guys been? Like, answer it now. Like, what are you guys been up to? Yeah. What did you guys do today? Because I went. What did I do today? Oh yeah, I just went to the shopping mall because I needed a new SIM. Well, my dad got a new SIM yesterday and it stuffed up. He still uses an iPhone 4 because he doesn't like call or use his phone much, and he wanted to get a new SIM, but the SIM reader thing inside the iPhone 4 was actually faulty. But when he swapped the SIMs out, it got wrecked. Like it just stopped working. That's what I mean. And yeah, I had to go in again today and get a new phone for him. And that phone is like a Nokia. It's like a knockoff version of Nokia. It's called, I don't even know what it's called, but excuse me, that's a burp. I don't know what it's called, but it's something like a Nokia. I don't freaking know, but yeah, it's working now. So that's all I did today. And I also had work in the morning from 6 o'clock to 12:30. So that's done. It's about, what time is it now? It's about 3:43 right now. Let me drink this water. Alright, I think it's about time I kind of like give you my advice and talk, my advice on talking, or I was meant to say my advice on like getting started, or getting started, or how to find what you love. Like I said, for me, I always knew that just doing it, or not always, but like from the past 1.5 years, I've been like reading, I've been watching a lot of podcast people and things like that, and especially Gary Vee, Casey Neistat, who else? Yeah, Hayden Pedersen, people like them, they preach this too, and from books and things like that, I've also started realizing since the last 1.5 years that this is a intrinsic motivation to get started, which is to just do. I think I know Seventh Era, which is Liam, he also says this. Yeah, like just doing it. Doing it is the best thing to get started. So let me just go back on how to get started. So when you think about wanting to start something, let's say you want to sell something, or by the way, this is not just from my mind. This is like from multiple creators and people. Like I'm literally stealing right here, but I feel like great artists do steal. You don't get nothing new without stealing. Everyone steals. So this is all inspired from words from a lot of creators. So how to get started? I think if you want to start something, let's say you want to start a business of selling something. What can you sell? Selling home items, like handmade craft home items. Let's just call it handmade craft items. Let's just say you want to sell it. You love selling it. You love selling it. You want to sell something. You want to make that into a business. Start from small, maybe go up. That's for later. But starting is the starting point. So when you think about selling, obviously there's a little bit of thing to like what kind of things you want to sell, all that. Make sure when you do think about, what should I sell, things like that, you limit yourself on the limit of how much to think. Because if you think overboard, you'll stop yourself from doing it. So that's what I'm trying to give an example for. Let's say you want to sell something. You got to think of what to sell. You want to sell something that you would actually buy. So at this point, I've just came out with the craft, home DIY craft or whatever. When you think of that item, you want to think of basically an item that you can make and then you could just sell. So you should just get started. You should get started with just making that item and making it, like having the product in your hand and putting it all over social media, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree in Australia. Where else can you sell? Instagram, even anywhere that people can see. Put it out there, whether or not it sells. It might take a day to sell. It might take a week to sell. It might take a month to sell. It might take 1 year to sell. But the point is to just get started on putting the product online. So, here's my theory. If you don't make a product and you want to sell, it's impossible for people to actually look at your product because you haven't put it online. But at least if you make the product and put it online, there's a chance that someone's going to look at it. That's what matters. Like the process that you get started is what matters, not the results, not the money that comes from it. Just start selling, and literally that's all that matters. What I'm trying to say is, like, I don't need to explain it further. It's just if you wanna sell a DIY, let's say a DIY basket to carry Christmas presents around, you make that shit and you put it online and you just put the price tag on it and just put it online. It's simple as that. Whether people see it or not, it's there. Someone eventually will have a look at it. Your satisfaction and your happiness should come from the process of you making that product and putting it online, rather than that product selling. Whether it's, obviously you wanted to sell, but whether it sells or not, that shouldn't change the way you feel about a product. Let's say the product doesn't sell for 5 days. You shouldn't be disappointed in that, because that is expected. If you put out a product, it's going to take a while to sell. Like, you're starting from scratch. Like, you can't expect for you to put up a product and for it to sell. It's just stupid. Like, then if you're theoretically, if you're angry that it didn't sell, if you're upset that it didn't sell, you should be upset that you didn't start earlier. Like, think about it. Why weren't you mad at yourself for not starting, but once you started, you're mad at yourself for it not selling? That's stupid, isn't it? So always love the process of creating and putting it out there, whether you get the result that you want or not. Eventually you will. That's if you put the work into it. I think there's a lot of things to talk on here, but there's a lot that goes into, like, talking about it. I love this subject. I love the do cycle subject, where you just do it and you get inspiration and momentum from doing it, and then you repeat that. So it's like a cycle. It's if you want to read about it, I think it's in the book called The Happiness Equation by Neil someone. So yeah, go read that book if you want. It's a great book. I love reading book. So it's in that book. It's freaking Shiva Me Timber's book. I was gonna say shit book, but like in a good way. But then, like, yeah, it's a mad book. So how to get? Okay, I don't know where I was, but I think I was around talking about the book, the camera stopped recording. So I don't know what the freak happened. I don't know where I was, but we'll just go with the book. The book is called the what do you call it? The Happiness Equation by Neil. So yeah, if you want, you should go check it out. And what else? I had something in mind to talk about. No, I forgot. Oh yeah, I think this is it. When you're trying to find something to do, I think there comes a question like, oh, what do I love? What do I like? And the simple answer to that question, I think that Gary Vee, I got this from Gary Vee, and I can assure that this is pretty true, is that you just don't know. You just literally don't know. You just don't know like what you love until you try shit. You just need to go and try stuff. You need to have this job. You need to quit that job. You need to go and have another job. You quit that job. You need to travel. You need to go taste food. You need to talk to a lot of people. You need to express yourself of who you are that day to be able to find out what you love and who you will be tomorrow. You're always changing. Like there's the true self is always changing. You're always changing. Your emotions are changing. You just have to allow yourself to express, and then you'll find what you love, what you like, what you hate, things like that. So you just need to taste shit, quote unquote, Gary Vee. But yeah, that's what I would advise. I can assure that is true, and I will be talking about this more in the next episode of how I found what I love and how I found what I do now. Because I can 100% tell you that 2 years ago I was in a completely different state of mind, a completely different career path, completely different everything, mentality, morals, values, every single thing was different about me. This is something that popped out, not out of nowhere, not popped out of nowhere, but 2 years ago I would say, I wouldn't change a thing about myself 2 years ago, but 2 years ago I would say I cared a little too much, way too much about the people of what people think about me, what the opinions of people's, and how can I put this into words, mate? I just cared a little too much about everything. Let's just put it that way. Everything that affected my mental health, the things I wanted to do, I couldn't express myself. I didn't even know who I was, to be honest. So I'm just going to talk about that next episodes, because I think we reached maybe the 40-minute mark. I'm not sure. I'm not really keeping a track, but I'm trying to make this like podcast like 40 minutes or something like that. So it's just like, you know what I mean. Yeah, so we'll talk about, me, how I found what I love, me dropping out of university, I don't know how to say it, and what my parents thought about that, what the society or what people think about that, and like the social norms around education, things like that. I want to talk about it because I love expressing myself. I love putting my views out there. I just love it. So we'll talk about that next episode. If you did listen to this, I'm so thankful that you did, and I appreciate every one of you. If you could subscribe, I don't know if this is on YouTube, please subscribe. That would really help me out. Please DM me or comment on the things that you would want me to talk about, or the things that you value or you would find value in. And if I don't know where I'm gonna post this, but if it's in Anchor, Spotify, I don't know, like if you follow or like or whatever, but just help me out here if you want. That's up to you though. I would really appreciate it. But if you're here listening to it, I salute ya. Thanks for that. And this is The Boring Show, the number one boring podcast in the whole freaking entire universe. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it bored you. Have a nice day. I'll see you maybe another time in another podcast or another video. Catch it, bro. Catch it, guys. Catch it, girls. Whew. I need water again.